Ready for the video?
No.
Ready for the video?
No. No. Yes.
Is not enough.
Very true. Do you agree?
Yes.
You want to be a little more than what you're right now. Yes? Nobody happens your way. It's okay.
Yes. Do you agree?
The problem is,
Yes, I can.
Present practice. What's conscious? This is Vish and
Ellie.
And today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on
Inner engineering, finding your source of happiness.
I'm an aspiring yogi and I've been meditating for over 4 years now. Love all things meditation, yoga, and wisdom based. And I'm super grateful to have Ellie on the show. Want to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Ellie. I am from Battleground, Washington. Woo woo.
Is that the Washington accident?
No, it sounds more like this.
Before we start, would love to hear what you think actually about inner engineering. What does that mean to you when you hear those two words, inner engineering?
I am not sure what it means, but I feel like it's kind of like re-engineering the way you think about life.
That is definitely, I think, a great way of looking at it. And I've actually completed that program. And would love to hear if you all have completed it or thinking about that program in the comments down below. Ellie, do you know Sadhguru?
Yes.
What do you know about him?
He's awesome.
Part 3. And with that,
Let's get into the video.
the moment we're born as human beings, somehow our lives got complicated. If we had come here as any other creature on this planet, life would be very simple. Eating, sleeping, reproducing and dying one day. Now we have to do all those things, but somehow where you are right now, wherever you may be, is not enough.
very true. Do you agree?
Yes.
You want to be little more than what you're right now. If you know only money, maybe you're thinking of little more money. If you know only pleasure, maybe little more pleasure. Power, little more power. Everybody is wanting to be little more than what they're right now. The process of desiring is continuously going on. Whether you're going to work, or you're going to the bar, or you're going to the temple, or you're getting married, or you're having children, you're studying in a university, all this effort of life, everything was in pursuit of happiness, is it so? In the last 100 years, with the use of science and technology, we have changed the very face of this planet. Today, we have the kind of comforts and conveniences that no other generation could ever even imagine. We are definitely the most comfortable generation ever on this planet, is it so? But are we also the most joyful generation? So it's not worked. Every creature, from plant to animal to every…
This is really cool. I mean, I love what he's saying because I agree 100% with how we are one of the most comfortable. Not to speak for everyone, but just, I mean, on an average, looking at maybe Western society, we still have, for the most part, food on our plate, shelter, jackets to cover up, and these are things that were complete fortunes. Just think about, thousands of years ago. So would you agree with that line that, we are, in terms of comfort, one of the most, successful generations, but in terms of joy and just happiness, not so much?
Will you redefine your question?
Yeah, basically just like what I'm asking is about if, we have everything, right? So I think at the point of convenience, we, I think, are really well off, most of us, not everyone. But do you think, even though we have all that convenience, we're one of the happiest generations, or do you think we're not the happiest, and why?
I don't feel like we're the happiest generation.
Why do you think that?
Because I think that society has changed a lot from you know, when you used to, in the like 1940s, you know, you'd be like running around and playing, and like my grandma even talked about her mom would say like, come home when the lights turn off, the street lights turn on, I'm sorry. And they didn't really have to worry about, you know, the things like today, like women have to worry so much about like, you know, certain male characters or female, or they, them, whatever. And so I think that like that's how society, like it's always been around, but it's just like even with like the amount of social media now and, you know, dating apps and like ways to meet people online, it's like, I think that's also like making our generation more like.
I love that, and I definitely agree. I think it's very complex now, and that complexity is making people just more miserable to an extent. But
yeah, and you can't, like, it's almost like, so I didn't have Instagram for 2 years. I deleted it. I took a social media break. It was like, even now, I'm like, I forget to post when I'm on vacation. Like, I forget to, like, even take a picture for Instagram. Like, I take it for me, you know, and it's not to, like, just put it out there. And I don't have that, like, in my mind anymore, which is crazy, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna, and that's why I was like, I need to take a break from this. It's too much. And so,
thank you. No, I appreciate you sharing that, Ellie, and I definitely think it's rare for, you know, someone to be in that kind of way, especially in today's day and age, but I think it's very helpful and needed. But let's continue. Let's listen to more about what he says about this happiness, starting now.
Everything, including human beings, have paid an enormous price to create these comforts and conveniences, and we are not even happy. What is the point? We have engineered the world today in many ways so that it functions better for us, isn't it? We have done nothing about ourselves. It's time to really look at it, isn't it? In the last 24 hours, how many moments of joy have you known? When you were 5 years of age, a child, how many moments of joy did you know in 24 hours? The whole equation has gotten reversed somehow. It doesn't matter where you are sitting in a palace or in heaven, but your inner situation is not good, it doesn't matter, isn't it? This mind could have been a source of ecstasy, but this mind has become a source of misery for most people, tension, anxiety, depression. Why? You just don't know how to handle it, isn't it? See, there's only one problem with your life. Life is not happening the way you think it should happen. That's the only problem. Is there any other problem? Nobody around you will happen 100% your way, isn't it so? Yes? Nobody happens your way, it's okay.
Yes, do you agree?
The problem is, this one is not happening your way. That is the problem, isn't it? People have concluded that stress is a part of their life. Stress is not a part of your life, it is just that you do not know how to manage your body, you do not know how to manage your mind, you do not know how to manage your emotions or your life energies. Everything is happening accidentally. So if things happen your way, you have begun to understand in the world that you have to engineer it. The same with you. No inner engineering has been done for you, isn't it? Just by accident you're trying to happen. Now I'm talking about creating the right kind of chemistry within you, where to be peaceful and blissful is just natural to you.
Ellie, so after watching this video on inner engineering, did you get some more understandings about what that meant?
Yeah.
What did it mean to you?
That we are always gonna have stress, but when we learn to manage it and to manage it within our body and being able to kind of like let it go and understand that like in this present moment, like don't stress unless you actually like need to be stressing, kind of. Because I think so many times, like especially with anxiety and stuff, we're like, what's gonna happen, and worried about the future, you know, and instead of just like in the present moment and embracing it for as it is.
Absolutely. I got a question for you. Do you think stress is always going to be there, or is that something that doesn't need to be there? Is stress a choice?
That's a hard question for me to answer because I feel like with my stress, I haven't learned to fully manage it yet.
So would you say the first step is to manage it and then hopefully think of a way to get out of it?
Yes, and I think that it is possible to live stress-free. And I think that there's very natural ways to do that. So yeah, I think I could live stress-free.
Absolutely, and that's why I was trying to just maybe get that out of you, because I think even Sadhguru, right, he was saying that we all tend to have come from this point just because of how normalized these things are, with stress, with anxiety, with all these issues. I think the key here is, at least as I've learned, is to realize that one, if you have one of these issues, you need to first accept it, right? You can't deny it. So denying it is not the way to go. And I know there's people that don't believe in these things. That is definitely not the way to go. So that's the first step. The second step, though, is once you accept it, to manage it. So I love what you said. The key word is managing it, figuring out how to deal with it now, right? And then realizing that it's not something that actually needs to be with you forever. Because I definitely, and I would say, I used to have quite a bit of anxiety. And then just through these natural methods, as you mentioned, I would say I'm pretty much over and out of those things. And so it's very possible. It just comes down to you having that right. It really comes down to this simple line, which, as Sadhguru says, if you don't do the right things won't happen to you, right? And I was actually watching a TikTok, so believe it or not, TikTok can be helpful at times.
I agree.
You think so too? Do you have TikTok?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. So there's some interesting things, and this one person was talking about, I forget the name, but shouts out to whoever said this. Basically, it was a mini small rant / kind of just monologue about asking, whoever was watching the TikTok, are you not feeling great? And then basically listing a bunch of reasons to why you might not be feeling great. And then she was basically asking stuff like, are you sleeping right? Are you sleeping on time? Are you eating the right foods? Are you working out? Are you eating not the greatest foods? Are you drinking? Are you doing drugs? How do you expect yourself to feel good when you're doing those things, right?
Yeah. I was joking.
That was a joke, right?
Yeah.
But no, so would you agree with that statement? How do you expect to feel good when you're not doing those right things? And I almost feel like I don't know. I feel like people almost glorify these issues, right, a bit too much, and they don't do anything about it. Instead, they just talk so much about it that they aren't focusing on the recovery, but they're focusing on, how it should be a permanent thing, but I don't think it should. Enough of me talking. What do you think?
So I think that some people, they go on medications for these things, which are 100% okay. But I think that there's also other ways around that. And sometimes we also do need two forms, medication and meditation. They go hand in hand. But sometimes we need the medication to help us get to a calming mind to be able to meditate. Because I know that when I've tried to meditate before, especially off of some medications that I'm on, it's hard for my brain to calm down completely. It's hard for me to just sit there. I can't do that. I'm oh, what am I supposed to do today? And read the book and all this. And I'm woo. And then to take that step back and then be able to do that and then kind of go off the medication and then just kind of be able to meditate like that.
That's a great perspective, and Ellie, I appreciate the transparency with your experiences with this stuff. And yeah, I guess it goes back to what I was saying, right? I think the once you accept that the managing is the key, and maybe during the managing stages, again, I think it really depends on your case, but maybe medication might be helpful, right? But I will say though, at the same time, and this is just an opinion, so we'd love to hear your perspective, right? I do feel like at the same time, there's definitely that really small percentage of people that really need it, right?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, because I'm all about the more natural way. I don't think that we should just be taking medication
to solve our problems. Right?
Yeah, but people, some people actually do need that.
I agree, but I think it comes down to
off of it naturally.
Exactly. We're on the same page. I just feel like with regards to even that percentage of people that need the medication in that moment, I don't know how. I feel like it's almost also, it's a larger number than it should be. And the reason I say that is because I feel like it's a whole industry, right? With, for example, the pharmaceuticals who make these medications and drugs, and even doctors, for example, it's a very Western thing, and I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, comment down below. I really value and appreciate open discussion. So if you have a different view on this, comment down below. But basically, I just feel like it's so easy for a doctor when you go to them and tell them that you're not feeling great to just be like, okay, take this medication, you'll feel better. Versus telling you to do this and this and this. I just feel like it's so much easier, right? It's an industry almost. And I think the point I'm making is I think more people are taking the medications than they actually need. What do you think?
Actually, 100%. And I think that also there's natural medications too, you know, so
What are some examples for you?
probably like essential oils. They have always seemed to like help me, you know. Maybe it's just like the effect, or like, you know, like, oh, this will help. I'm like, okay. No, but I think that like natural, like aspirin, that's from bark. You know, you can get like natural aspirin to help with your headaches, like that kind of stuff too. And you can get like GABA that helps produce more dopamine in your brain when you're sleeping, which is a completely all natural supplement. And there's like a bunch of other stuff out there that are like medications, yeah, that just can't be labeled as pharmaceuticals. So
That's true. I would also agree that I mean, again, I would still say that there's ways, and again, this doesn't apply to everyone, but even without the need for any consumption, whether it is like a plant or anything quote unquote natural, like whether it's meditation, yoga, working out, eating right. But then if it does come down to the need for some sort of medication, I think then, yeah, I would definitely prefer a plant-based or natural one over a pharmaceutical, you know, artificial. But anyways, definitely appreciate your insight here on this topic. And I guess the real quick wrap up to this is that in engineering, it's actually a program by Sadhguru. It incorporates a mix of meditations and yoga and a bunch of other kind of like, we can call breath work, which actually, if you check out the stats, and I'll maybe put the links down below on that, it has shown when people do participate, and here's the catch, right? Even medication actually, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't immediately work, right? It takes, you know, a month or maybe 2 or something, right? Is that true?
Depending on what kind of medication you
Okay, so the point I'm making though is with this program, it does take time, right? So it's not like you do it one day. Everything takes time. Exactly. And so with this, it's like, I think essentially you have to do this practice, and as you do it for, let's say, 2 to 3 months, what they've found is they've done actual studies on this. Harvard, Rutgers, so premier universities have actually conducted these studies where they actually do notice, I think, almost like a 70 to 80% reduction in anxiety, depression, all these other even physical ailments. I know people through personal experience used to have a bunch of chronic physical and mental ailments, and by doing these programs, it's all gone. And so that's what the program is, just in case you were, you know, curious about what that is. And for y'all watching this right now, that's what I think his video is about. But I think the key was really just talking about the why that need is there, right? How we engineer the outside so much, but aren't focusing on the inside. Any closing thoughts, Ellie? Well, thank you for being here. You did great. I appreciated your time. Appreciated you watching. And we'd love to hear what you think about our discussion, Sadhguru's views, in the comments down below. And if you have any other video reaction requests or personality type requests on the show, you can also comment down below. And remind the viewers, where can they find you, Ellie?
On Instagram at Ellie Rain with 2 E's.
Which will be down below. And with that, make a great day, take it joyful, and stay conscious. Awesome job, Ellie.
Thank you.
You're great.